Well, the Easter Dofus event, Fleaster Island, is open. And for the next few weeks, as you overindulge on chocolate mutant bunnies, chocolate coupons, and chocolates, you might as well pick up the Cocoa Dofus while you're at it. There are 7 quests total to complete the Fleaster Island achievement, A Hint of Mystery. Level ranges are recommended between 60 and 200. It kind of scales with you. And although this guide will walk you all the way through 100% completion of that achievement, you don't actually have to do all 100% to get your hands on the Dofus. Quests 1 through 4 will get you through to the base Cocoa Dofus, which is the +10 lock. Quests 5 and 6 will take you through to the upgraded version of the Cocoa Dofus, which is the lock plus a shield attribute. And quest 7 is needed to just complete the entire achievement. And it's a pretty quick, easy quest, so I recommend if you go 1 through 6, you might as well knock out 7. First, let's go over the things you're going to need to get all the way through this guide. You're going to need 1 Rikiki wand, 100 Rose of the Sand, 20 hazelnuts, 5 Cobalites. You're also going to need some chocolate squares, but don't go to the market to buy these. Come here to the NPC at 23-27 on Pandala Island, and you will find these substantially cheaper. From there, pick up 13 dark chocolates, 7 white chocolates, and 7 milk chocolates. You're also going to be able to craft 1 all-purpose glue, which will require 3 dead Cocoa, 25 nettles, and 25 Gunganduns. You'll need 5 pasty boards, 8 flax fibers, and you're also going to need 3 emotes to get past 1 spot in these quests. You're going to need the point and the Break Wind emotes. Both of those you can buy pretty easily from the market if you want to. Break Wind is actually droppable from the swamp crocodiles. And then you will also need the Kiss emote, which is a little more difficult to get your hands on. You'll need 1 crab pincer, and you're going to need to come to this guy at 1,0 between the hours of 0 and 1 Dofus time. That's right, wherever it flips over to the next day in your time zone, you've got 1 hour to meet with this guy to get that emote. The first quest, Chocolate Floating Island, talk to Ding Dong here at 1,-4. Then talk to the big Fleaster Bell right next to her. Once you're on the island, talk to the little bell, and that will take you over to the chocolate shop where you will find Lilivani Ka. Talk to her. That completes the first quest. The next quest, Constipation, you will actually leave Fleaster Island and head back down to the Amakna village area. Find your way over to 6,3 and talk to the Priestess of the 12. Next, you're going to go to 4,-6 and enter Amakna's castle. Go 3 rooms in from the entrance and talk to the Lady of the Court. She'll be the one closest to the entrance of the room. Next, you're going to exit to the left into the castle kitchen and talk to Gustav La Vista. She's then going to send you over to 4,19 and talk to Dejan, which will initiate a fight against the Dark Miner. Next, you're going to go up to 1,1 and talk to Ugadu at the Amakna Village Marketplace and Grocery Store. And finally, you're going to go back to the Priestess of the 12. She's then going to send you on an errand to Stefan Banoa, which is that panda NPC I was telling you about a moment ago where you're going to buy your chocolate. After that, go back to the Flying Bell up to Fleaster Island. Back over to Lilivani and talk to her. And you're going to select Ask Where to Find Emil Ka. A couple more selections later, she's going to ask you to pick an activity, which is one of the possible daily repeatable quests. You need to select one of those and then complete it. I did the recycling one, which isn't too difficult. You basically go talk to a squirrel and you're going to run around and pick up papers on the ground. You got to get 20 of them. Now, depending on how many other people are running around the map trying to do this at the same time, it might take you a little time to get to that 20, but it's a pretty easy quest to knock out. Once you've completed whatever daily quest you've selected, go back to Lilivani and announce that you have completed it, and that will complete this portion of the quest. Next up, you got an egg of one's own. It's going to pick up right where the other one left off. That will send you over to Ian Imp at -2, -4. Talk to Cadillac. Gotta love that name, Cadillac. And this is going to start a fight equivalent to your level. This character will gain 1 MP every time you push him back. He will become fully healed if you fail to dodge away from him, and he has a long range spell that he uses to try to pull you close. So I recommend try to stay circling around that center to try to keep him from being able to pull you to him. Most of his actual damage attacks are close range spells, so as long as you can keep that gap between you and him, you should be fine. Once that fight is over, you're going to talk to Ian and you're going to escort him to Mama Otto at -19, -23. I recommend if you have the zap -20, -20, go right there, and then it's really close. You're going to climb up the ladder in the Imp Village. You're going to talk to Mama and entrust Ian to her care, and then you'll talk to Ian again, and that completes this quest. All right, quest number 4, Cocoa Magic vs. Cocomancy. This starts out by collecting 10 surprise eggs that you're going to give to Marmot at -2, -5 on Fleaster Island. The eggs are dropped by several of the monsters in the chocolate quarry, so you just run around there and fight for a little bit, you'll get them in no time. Over here at -2, -5, this is where you're going to need your emotes. It sounds a little tricky, but I'm going to walk you right through the process. First, you're going to get into this position 1 square away from Marmot, and you're going to face in the same direction that he does. What I recommend is put these 4 emotes on your bar just to make it a little easier. Put the sit, then the point, then the heart, then the gas. First thing you're going to do is sit or rest. It doesn't matter which one you do. Then you're going to talk to Marmot and select wait, and it's going to tell you to turn to the right and point. If you're not familiar with how to turn your character, you're going to click on your character and go down to select position my character. Then you can rotate your mouse around and you'll see your character pivot while staying in the same spot. You're going to want to pivot your character clockwise 1 turn. Then double click the point emote. You're going to click to Marmot and talk again, and this time you'll see him move 1 space closer to you. Then you're going to want to turn your character clockwise 1 more time so you're facing Marmot, and you're going to use the kiss emote. Talk to Marmot 1 more time, and it's going to tell you to turn and let 1 rip. And you guessed it, you're going to turn your character to face the opposite direction of Marmot again, and you're going to blast him right in the face. Now, when you talk to Marmot, he will give you the base version of the Cocoa Dofus, so you don't have to go any further from here if that's all you want. But for those of you who want to keep going, next you're going to go around and question the employees at -1, -2, -2, -3, and the last one, -1, -8. And from here, you're going to find out where the Fleaster Custodian is, and basically they're going to be located at the end of the dungeon that you need to run based upon your level. If your character is under the level of 120, you will go to the Waddick Foundry. Between 120 and 179, you're going to go fight Crunchy. And if you're 180 or above, you got to go fight the Cocoa Temple. And my goodness, it's not a cakewalk. When you get to the end of the dungeon and you beat that boss, remember to talk to the custodian before you leave. If you leave the dungeon, you gotta rerun it to talk to the custodian again. Once you're done talking to the custodian, open up your inventory, go to quest items, and double click the Fleaster Custodian's list. Now, if you already picked up all the stuff that I recommended at the beginning of this video, you're all set. Everything but the 3 hairs. To get the 3 hairs, you're gonna go talk to Daft Coldman at -2, -10, Leonidas at -2, -9, and the Cocoa Mancer Guard at -3, -9. Now, when you're talking to Daft Coldman, I had you pick up an extra dark chocolate. That's why you have 13 instead of 12. Go ahead and exchange with him for a square of 99% pure dark chocolate. You're going to need that for a later quest. You might as well grab it now. Once you have all the resources, you're going to go back to the custodian, which thankfully is no longer located at the end of the dungeon, but at -4, -5. And she's going to give you the Timopherosis ring, which will pop up in your quest inventory. Next, you're going to go back to -3, -9 and double click the ring that's in your inventory, which is going to put on a disguise. You're going to talk to the guard that's on the left side of the hole. The answers to the questions will be in random order, so if you're using multiple accounts, don't just click the same spot. Pay attention to the words that are being listed. Now, I'm going to pop up on the screen here the right answer to go with each question so that you can just pause this and work your way through that. Quest number 5, Chocolate Mystery and Eggs. That room you just entered into, you're going to go up and talk to Cadillac. Then he's going to have you talk to Ben. Then you're going to talk to Cadillac again. Then you're going to talk to Hasna. Next, you're going to need to equip the Rikiki wand. And if you click the Y button on your keyboard, you're going to see a little hole on the left-hand side lighting up. However, you have to leave the room and come back before you can actually access that hole. Once you go inside, you're going to talk to Whisper. Leave the little room and talk to Whisper again. The next thing you got to do is find a meal. Now, to do this, you have to punch in a password using the tiles that are on the floor. I'm going to put the password on the screen right here. Now, you can click the first 4 letters, D, Z, A, and B, and the character will run to those squares without causing any issues. At least that was my case. But when you get to the tiles of O and L, you have to be careful not to cross over any of the other tiles to get to those letters. Now, if you do this correctly, once you land on the L tile, you'll be teleported into the jail cell room where you will find Emil. Once you're in there, double click that ring to take off your disguise and talk to Emil. Emil's going to tell you to take 20 hazelnuts to Daddy, which will be located at 0, -3. Once you've went over there to talk to Daddy, you're going to escort Daddy back to Emil. And yes, you will have to punch in the password again. So again, I will have it on the screen to make it easy. You will have to take off your disguise to talk to Emil. Talking to Emil will have Daddy run off, but don't worry, Daddy is just located right outside the hole of that entrance again. You're going to go back out there, talk to Daddy, put your costume back on to go back into the room. Punch in the password again to get back to Emil. You're going to double click the ring again to take off your costume, talk to Emil, and now Emil is going to come out of the jail cell. Talk to Emil again, and now Emil and Daddy are going to leave the jail room. You're going to go out there, talk to Emil one more time, and now Emil and Daddy will leave the cave. Once outside, you're going to talk to Emil again, and this is going to start a fight against the 2 Cocomancer guards that were right outside. Now, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, and my recommendation, just forfeit the fight. I went through the process of beating them one time with my Inu, and it took 25 turns and 15 minutes. It was not worth it, and you get the same result. Once you've completed that fight with a win or a loss, you're going to come back to -1, -7, and Emil will be standing outside the house there, and you can talk to him to complete that quest. This will lead right into the next quest, a Cocoa Case. First, Emil's going to send you to talk to Alan Dunkris at -1, -9. Then you're going to go right next door to Leah Nidos at -2, -9, and then up to Daff Coldman at -2, -10. After talking to them, you'll come back to Emil at -1, -7. He's going to send you to find Dr. Theo's workshop, which is located at -3, -8. You're going to enter into that cave, and you'll see that there is a clickable bottle in the back. Once you click that, you're going to take the mysterious hair that you found back to Emil at -1, -7. Emil's going to give you a small list of things that you need to get. Now, if you haven't already, you need to craft 1 all-purpose glue, which can be done by any level 1 handyman. Just go to a workshop, put in the 3 dead glue cocos, 25 nettles, and 25 gungadons. Bring the glue, the 5 pastry boards, and the 8 flax fibers back to Emil at -1, -7, and he's going to send you to find Daddy's hideout. Daddy's hideout is located at -4, -4, and you'll see a small hole, which means, yep, you gotta put on that Rikiki wand. Once you're inside, talk to Daddy, and he's going to give you a note. Go into your quest inventory, double-click the note to read that. This is where you're gonna need that square of 99% pure dark chocolate that I had you pick up earlier. If you have not gotten that yet, run back to Daff Coleman at -2, -10 and exchange 1 dark chocolate with him to get that. Next, you're going to go back to -3, -8, where that cave to the laboratory was. Go inside the cave and put on the Cocoa Dofus that you already have. Eat the 99% dark chocolate. Important, you got to eat the chocolate while you're inside the cave. If you eat it while you're outside the cave, it doesn't activate what needs to take place, and you'll have to do this step over again. You're going to talk to the Cocoa Dofus energy, and you're going to select plunge one hand into the fusing magic and loudly proclaim, "The chocolate mystery shall remain whole until Cocoa opens the way." Then you're going to select yell out one last time, "This chocolate mystery shall remain whole until Cocoa opens the way." This will teleport you to where Dr. Theo Broma is. You're going to talk to him, and then you're going to go inside the house and talk to Cocoa. Cocoa's then going to get a little smaller, and you're going to talk to Cocoa again. Then you're going to leave Fleaster Island and go all the way back to where it began at Priestess of the 12. Talk to her, and when you're all done, open your inventory, and you will see that your Cocoa Dofus has been upgraded to include the shield attribute now. The final quest, the Melody of Music, is all you need to do to complete this achievement, and it doesn't take long, so if you made it to this point, I recommend just finish this off. Go back up to Fleaster Island to -2, -1 and talk to Kelton. Kelton's going to send you over to the Northern Miniature Flying Bell at 0, -4. Then you need to talk to the Eastern Miniature Flying Bell at -4, -3. You're going to fail to capture that one, and you're going to go back to talk to Kelton, but he has moved to -2, -2. Now you're going to go back to the Miniature Flying Bell that you failed to capture a moment ago at -4, -3. You're basically going to go through 3 steps to capture this thing. From the first list, you want to select Come from the North. On the next one, you want to select Come from the West and Pounce. And for the last one, Come from the West and Swoop. You're going to go back and talk to Kelting one more time at -2, -2. He's now going to send you to 4 locations to release these miniature bells in their new location. If you bring up the quest, you can select the flags to pinpoint exactly where you're supposed to release those, and it will tell you which one to release at each location. All you're going to do is open up your inventory, go over to quest items, double click the cage to release the bell, and you're all done. Go back to talk to Kelton one more time, who has moved back to his original place at -2, -1. That completes the Hint of Mystery Fleaster Island achievement. Congratulations! I hope this guide was helpful for you. If you wouldn't mind smacking that like button for me, that would be awesome. And if you got any tips for me on how I can make these guides easier to follow, leave those in the comments below for me, because I want to read those and get feedback so that I can hopefully make future guides even better. Until next time, you all be safe out there, and I will see you on the next one.